In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the law of assumption and how it will change your life. Hey guys, it's Abby and welcome back to the video. So this video is inspired by the book, The Power of Awareness by my main man, Neville Goddard. So those of you who don't know, so the book's titled Power of Awareness, Ideas That Shape the World. And this is, obviously you can tell, a pretty short book, but absolutely will change your life if you decide to read it. I highly suggest you do. What we're going to be talking about today is just one simple principle in this whole book. So Neville Goddard was back, his main teaching was back in the 30s and 40s. So he's sharing these ideas. His main one being your imagination is God. To me, it's absolutely incredible that in the 30s and 40s, this guy is going out and talking about how your imagination is God. So he has a lot of incredible things that he talks about in this book, but the biggest one, again, that I want to focus on is his idea of the law of assumption. And what does that mean? Basically, whatever it is that you want in your life, if it's a goal, maybe it's a financial destination, right? You want to make 6 figures a year. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe you want to get married. Maybe you want to have a house. Maybe you want to live in another country. Whatever it is, there's you now, and there's the thing that you want, right? And there's this gap. That gap could feel short. It could feel attainable, but you don't quite know how to get it. Or that gap could feel a mile long. So with the law of assumption, basically what you're doing is you're going to assume the thing already exists. You're going to assume life rather than continue living on this side of, man, I really wish I had this life. Oh man, that life, things would be so nice if I had that money. Things would be so nice if I lived in that place. Things would be so nice if I had that relationship. Rather than having that longing for this, you're literally going to step inside that reality of you that already has these things. You're going to go on with your life as if this thing has already happened. You're going to, visualize, you're going to spend time as much as you can and be the person that already has it. Now, I think this is an incredibly fascinating idea, not only in a subconscious reprogramming way, but think about it. How would you act if you already had that job? What would you do? How would you spend your time? How much more of your creative imagination would you have if you weren't worried and stressed and constantly thinking about having it? Just think about that for a second. How much time do you think about this desire that you want? What if that imaginative power you could get back and you could actually invest it in something else? In cultivating more of this, in giving to your friends and family, whatever it is. A lot of your energy is actually getting spent wishing for this thing, which actually creates a resistance to actually having it. So with the law of assumption, again, you're going to assume you already have it. You're going to act, you're going to be the person that you will be already having it. And obviously there's things that you don't know what it'll feel like until you get there, but you're gonna do the best you can to assume what it would be like, what kind of clothes you'd wear, what kind of behavior you'd have, what kind of places would you eat, what kind of food would you eat, what kind of language would you have. Would that change? Right? If you go from, say you're an entry-level position at a job, but you really wish you were the CEO, what are the behaviors of those two people? One way you could do is just write it down and try to take yourself out of it if you can. If this feels really hard and you can't really see yourself, one thing you could do is ask your friends, how do they see you right now? What kind of worker do they think you are? Whatever it is that you're wanting to have, ask people around you that know you, because they're gonna give you different perspectives so you can see yourself a little bit more clear and a little bit objective compared to the subjective view that you have of yourself right now, which can oftentimes feel like you're stuck. So the law of assumption, again, you're going to assume that you already have the thing. So you go out in life, you're assuming I've already got the money and it's already happening, this is great. And then you might get into a situation, you're like, okay, I'm assuming if this is a law, why is my bank account not changing? Why is, my life not changing? Why is this goal, why is this dream not moving any closer? Well, if that is the situation that you find yourself in as you start practicing the law of assumption, assuming that you already have this, the book talks about how it's really a question of faith. Because if you're acting in alignment with this version of yourself that already exists in the universe in terms of quantum physics, it already exists, right? Like what you're doing with the law of assumption is you're so vividly imagining what you want and what you want your life to be that you're actually going to change the course of your life because you so vividly assume it. And when you assume it, you bring in senses. You bring in your imagination to first construct the new vision. Secondly, you start feeling what it would feel like. You bring in other senses. What would your coffee smell like in the morning? What kind of, would you buy nicer soap for the shower? Would you buy nicer things for your home? What would they feel like? The more senses you can involve, the more vivid you can make this dream, and you assume that dream to be, the closer you will get to actually bringing it into fruition. Now, a lot of times what happens is people are like, okay, I'm gonna assume it. It's not happening. This is stupid. This doesn't work. Well, what's the failing mechanism is actually you and your faith. You're not believing that this could actually be you. You have an idea. That idea is distant. Again, going back, this is the version of you now. This is where you want to be. You want to be this thing, but you continue to feel the distance between you now and the you want to be. You never have those two become one. You never actually get there. You don't have the faith to feel that, even though the external world right now is not reflecting it. There is a delayed mirror technique. So basically, who you see yourself to be as you change your self-image, which is all you're doing, you're assuming a new self-image. That's it. It's as simple as that. The quantum field, you're literally latching on to a new version of yourself, which is going to shift the course of your life. If you truly sink into this new version of yourself, if you truly have a shift in your cybernetic mechanism, your behavior starts changing because who you are starts changing, right? And I had the example come into my head of, if you are going to go to a store, right, and say you're going to play a character, because really our personalities are a character. They're a character of survival, how we think, how we act, and how we feel. Those are based on meanings. Those are based on who we were told we need to be and how we navigated the world and how we got what we need. It's got us to this place right now. It's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And now you get to choose if you want to continue it. If there's some kind of dissatisfaction in your life right now, it's telling me that you'd like to change it. There's something about your life that you would like to have an identity shift. You would like to change your self-image of. So imagine that you're a character in a play and they send you into the thrift store and you're to get anything that you feel has to do with that character. So imagine that you're going to play a pirate, right? You're on a your ship is shipwrecked, you're on an island, and you're gonna try to go through that store and get things that are gonna reflect this shipwrecked pirate. It could be a pilot too. So imagine what you'd go in, right? You'd look for clothes that maybe like stripes, you try to get pants maybe that are already tethered, you try to get maybe some boots, you try to get cuffs, all sorts of things. Now there's tons of stuff in the store, but you only are going to go in there and choose that which you're trying to reflect the character to be. Now, just the same, it could be somebody else. Maybe in another part of the play, there's a businessman or a woman. They're very fine dressed. They're very, affluent. They come from a very long line of, wealth in their family. How would you dress for that person? Well, then you'd go to the suits or I was going to call them lady suits, but you can call them whatever, power suits, whatever you want to do, a dress, whatever. Whatever it really embodies power, success, and money. You're going to go through the same store and you're going to go pick out those things. Now, these two people go and they have the same access to everything, but they're going and choosing based on the character that they're going to play. That's essentially what we're doing with our lives. When we stick in the old version, we're navigating the world and we're looking at things that are going to reflect back to us that which we think we are. So in this book, there was an amazing quote that I actually want to read to you now because I think it's so powerful. And it's by Emerson. And it says, "Man or woman surrounds himself with the true image of himself. So you will always put around you things that are going to reflect back to you who you think you are. You're going to go into that store and you're only going to get things that are going to reflect that character, even though you have access to all these other things. So you have to start thinking who it is you want to be. What is this new version? Vividly think about it so that you can assume it. And if you are not finding that you're moving closer to it, you're only dreaming of it. You have to think from it. It's two totally different ideas that are separated by one word. Most people think of their dreams. They feel this distance and they can't get to it because there's this gap. What you need to do is think from this part of you, this version of you. How are you going to bring this to this new version? That's it. It's as simple as thinking from it. You're going to assume from it. You're going to live in it. You're going to embody it. You're going to be it now. Then the external world is going to start showing you that change. You're not going to see this change of, oh my gosh, they've given me, I've gone from entry level and now I'm the CEO. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for believing before I could believe in myself. You have to believe in yourself and not look at anything else. If you fail, it's not a failure. You're not done, right? You need to continue to go on to see this version and to believe deeper. And the other thing too is remember the frequency in which you're tapping into this new version. If I were to think, man, I really want to get better at a mile run, which I probably will never do in my whole life, but right, never say never. So I'm like, I really want to go and be a mile runner. And I think about it and I'm like, oh man, I'm going to assume that I'm a good mile runner. Well, a good mile runner, if I'm assuming that I'm already that, they're going to go out and run. That's what they're good at. That's what they like to do. They're going to train to be better at running because that's what they're good at. They're already good. It's going to include a lot more running. It's going to include programs and workouts that help their running. It's not going to include somebody who wishes they could be better at running. That is not at all what a good mile runner does. They don't think about it because they are it. So what they do is focus on how to keep doing the thing they're already doing. Right? Just the same too, if I wanted to be better at drawing and I thought about if I could be better at drawing rather than somebody who's good at drawing practices. They go out and they look at other people's stuff. They interact with other artists. They go to the art store. They get good supplies. They look at YouTube videos, right? How are they going to learn to be better? Because they love it so much that they're already doing it now. They don't think about being good at it. They do the things that got them to how they are now. Meaning, if you're assuming that you're it, you don't think about being it. You are it now, and you embody the actions and the thoughts and the ideas of that version of you. So when you think about, how am I just gonna sit on the couch and this magical thing's gonna come in? It doesn't work that way. The power of assumption means that you're assuming it now, which means your behavior changes, which means your whole self-concept is already over here and you're doing it now. It's just a matter of time before the external world will reflect it. So, when you think about the frequency, so it's not about just sitting there and okay, just gonna really think about this and focus on it. I'm assuming it's me. It's been 20 minutes. I've done this last week and now it's 20 minutes this week. I'm really doing it. No, that'd be like going on a trip and I got my GPS on and I checked it. It's I checked it yesterday. So, I'm doing pretty good with it. You could be going to, the East Coast, but because you didn't check it from yesterday, you're actually going to California. So it's less about how long you hold this assumption and more about the frequency and checking in and being that more and more and more and more and closing the gap so that when you think from the assumption, the assumed part that you want to be, you bring it towards you. And that is all about kind of going back slowly but surely building these little steps to meet. And so the power of assumption will change your life if you choose to frequently check in, if you choose to start acting as if it is happening now, which will dramatically change your behavior. It will dramatically change your thought form because you're not hoping for this thing to happen. It's already happening, and all you're waiting for, or all that is time dependent or time comes into play is what the external world is representing. It's not about if it happens, simply about when. And you don't care when that happens because it's already happening now inside of you. Your body is releasing all those chemicals. It's continually fortifying your self-image and, making your faith concrete and indestructible. The more you do this, the more you have faith in yourself, the more you take these actions to show that's who you are, the more you act like that, the more it shows who you are. And it just continues to build and braid in this image of yourself in which it is already assumed, and the mirror effect, what's happening inside will eventually be externally represented. And even though it might be amazing and wow, how did you do that? Well, you did it long before when you made a decision to assume that it had already happened. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got value from it. If you did, please click like. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe and share this with those you think will be valuable. And I will see you on the next video.